morning, friends. When I was growing up at my parents' house, their kitchen was separated from our eating area with a long counter. Now, I love to visit with my mom. My mom loved to visit with me, but she had one rule. Whenever she was cooking dinner, I wasn't allowed on her side of the counter. It didn't matter if I offered to help. It didn't matter if I had a great dinner idea. I knew my job was to stay on my side of the counter. So I wonder, are there any places in your house that maybe you're too young or too short or too something that you're not allowed to go in? Maybe there's a place that your shoes aren't allowed to go. Are you allowed to put shoes on the couch? Maybe there's a place your dog isn't allowed to go. Is the dog allowed in the living room? Talk as a family about the boundary lines in your house that you are and are not allowed to go in. In the Old Testament, we've been talking about the fact that God asked the people to build a tabernacle. Now, the tabernacle was the special place where God dwelled. It was a place that represented that He wanted His presence with the people. The tabernacle was made out of really big, really thick curtains. And inside the tabernacle, God wanted there to be a very special curtain. Let's read about it. I'm going to be in Exodus chapter 26, starting in verse 31. For the inside of the tabernacle, make a special curtain of finely woven linen. Decorate it with purple, blue, and scarlet thread, and with skillfully embroidered cherubim. Hang this curtain on gold hooks attached to 4 posts of acacia wood. Hang the inner curtains from clasps and put the Ark of the Covenant in the room behind it. This curtain will separate the holy place from the most holy place. So in God's tabernacle, there was a special curtain. And this special curtain came all the way down and separated the holy place, where there were things like a light and a table and bread, from the most holy place, the place that represented God's presence, the place where the Ark of the Covenant was. We'll talk about that in another lesson. But this special curtain can teach us a lot about God. I want to read you just a short clip from one of my favorite books, The Garden, the Curtain, and the Cross. God wanted people to remember, it's wonderful to live with Him, but because of your sin, you can't come in. So He told the people to build a special building called His temple where He would live. Now, the temple was the more permanent structure that God had His people build, and it was just like the tabernacle. In the middle of the temple was the most wonderful place in the world, the place where God was, with nothing bad and nothing sad. It was very exciting. But then God told people to put a big curtain around this wonderful place. The curtain had pictures of warrior angels on it. It was a big keep out sign. For hundreds of years, the temple curtain reminded people that God said, "It is wonderful to live with Him, but because of your sin, you can't come in." So this curtain, this big, thick curtain, separated the people from God. It reminded the people that there was a problem in their friendship with God, and that problem was their sin. You see, God is holy. He's perfect. And He's so perfect that sinners can't be around Him and be okay. This curtain represented that separation. Now fast forward a couple thousand years to the time when Jesus came. You know that Jesus lived on the earth, that He had ministry, that He taught people, that He performed miracles. And then there was one day, a day that He had planned ahead of time, and it was the day that He was going to die on the cross. But did you know that that day the Bible talks about this curtain again. Listen to the book of Mark, chapter 15, starting in verse 37. Then Jesus uttered another loud cry and breathed his last. This is talking about when he was on the cross. Verse 38. And the curtain in the sanctuary of the temple, this is that curtain, the curtain that showed the people that they had to stay separated from God. The curtain in the sanctuary of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now this curtain was very, very tall. So if a person wanted to tear it, the person would have gone to the bottom of the curtain and tried really hard, but it was so thick a person could not have torn it apart. But a person didn't tear this curtain apart, and the curtain wasn't torn from the bottom to the top. The Bible says what? The curtain was torn from top to bottom. That's super significant. Let me read you another page from our storybook. Jesus had a plan. He had always planned to die on the cross. What a strange plan. Why would God's Son plan to die? On the cross, Jesus took our sin, all the bad things we do, all the sad things they cause. Jesus took them all from us. And when he did, something amazing, astonishing, astounding happened. The curtain tore. God had ripped up the keep out sign. God's wonderful place is open again. Because Jesus died, we can go in. So there will be boundaries in your house that you can't go. Maybe your shoes are too dirty, maybe the dog is too stinky, or maybe you're just not quite old enough to be in Dad's workshop yet. But as far as God is concerned, there is no boundary line keeping you from Him anymore. If we didn't know the story of the tabernacle, if we didn't see that God put up this visual reminder that the people were separated from Him, it wouldn't be so special for us to remember now there's no separation because of Jesus. When that curtain tore in two parts, it was the final thing. And do you remember what Jesus said as he was dying on the cross? He said, "It's finished." All the work necessary for us to be friends with God again was taken care of by Jesus on the cross. Isn't God great?